you've got to figure out the market. I think there are opportunities out there, Scott. There are stocks that if you're looking really closely, there are stocks that are getting pounded probably unjustly. And there are others that absolutely should be going down based upon their reliance on what's going to happen with the trade war. So there are some names out there I think that could be great opportunities. But take a look at this volatility index. I mean, days ago we were trading 13. Now here we are trading plus 20. I mean, that's a huge jump. That gives you an opportunity as well, Scott, because now if you find those opportunities with stocks, rather than buying options, you have an opportunity to start selling options that are huge premiums versus normal.
You're the most active trader that we have,
yes.
Okay? You and your brother.
Yeah.
So are you doing anything today?
Oh, absolutely.
Specifically in the market?
Yeah,
and
I've got a few things
what?
in the unusual options thing for later, so
Just
I don't want to
give me
give
some ideas right now in terms of what you're doing. I think people are, they're seeing what's happening in the market.
Yep.
They watched things come back yesterday, and now they're wondering, like Steph said, it's a binary outcome. If you get a deal, market goes up.
Right.
You don't get a deal, market goes down. What
Yep.
are you doing in the 3 days here as we wait?
Yeah, I
ahead?
think, like I say, you're looking for some of those opportunities. I'll give you an exact one right now. How about something like Microsoft? As it was trading over 131 after the earnings, here's a stock. Not much has changed. And yet it's getting pounded down with everything else. And I think there are names out there, Scott, specific names out there where they great fundamental story. If that's there and that's intact, I understand China. I understand the trade wars, possibly Europe later on. But for right now, you've got to focus on what are the best fundamental companies right now to have the opportunity.
Jim, it felt like the market was a little bit at risk. And then you got Friday's employment report, and it appeared to underscore what some would say has been a Goldilocks environment for stocks. You have growth, you don't have any inflation, rates are low, there is no alternative. I'm just telling you what people have told us. Now you're left with a little bit of uncertainty leading into Friday. What do you do with that?
Well, okay, so first off, I think I agree that we were a little complacent on trade. I think it was about 2 weeks ago you and I were talking. I said, hey, we haven't seen anything on this deal. I'm starting to get a little nervous. It is binary, so what do? I think you have to make a decision knowing, Steph, that you don't know what the outcome is. But I think cooler heads will prevail here because both sides have so much to lose. I think President Trump is saying, listen, it's not business as usual anymore. We are going to get this done. But here's the thing. If it doesn't get done, the problem is all those talks about a second half recovery in earnings are seriously in jeopardy. So what I'm doing is, just to be very clear, I'm sticking with the idea that cooler heads will prevail. There's too much to lose on both sides. In the meantime, I'm pretty much fully invested. I see things bucking the trend today. Okay, so you were asking Pete, what do you look at today? Things like GM, and the reason I'm bringing this up is because where there are stock-specific news items, they can buck the trend. GM got an investment in its autonomous vehicle unit today, valuing it at $19 billion from SoftBank and Honda. That's 40% of the market cap of the company. So that's like, even in this binary situation, you can find little gems.
Joe, think of where we were, a week ago. We're saying, okay, stocks are poised to go higher. The data is better than expected. Earnings were better than expected, even though the bar had come down so low you could step over it rather than jump over it. But nonetheless, positive earnings growth versus negative earnings growth and earnings recession seem to be good enough for people.
Yes.
So now what?
Well, the concern is that the analyst community that potentially was going to revise higher earnings for the latter part of the year, that they'll be on pause in the absence of clarity. I said yesterday, I don't see this as a one-day event, and I'm not sure that this is binary as well. I think this stays with us for the remainder of 2019 into 2020. I think what the market had done is it had priced out the trade concerns, and it's now pricing back in the trade concerns. Can you put a specific number on pricing back in trade concerns? No, I don't think you can, but it's reflective of a change in sentiment. And just look what happened today in Europe. Europe is very negatively affected by what's going on.
The numbers out of Germany were ugly, and that may have something to do with the sell-off in and of itself.
And the EU comes out and it revises the outlook for Germany for 2019 from 1.1 growth to only 0.5% growth. Talks about a major shock from these trade tensions. So I think that's a little bit of the reality of pricing back in potential trade concerns.
Yeah. I want to keep you up to date, really, on every tick that we're having while we're sitting out here. We're sort of out of our comfort zone, not in the studio where we've got all the monitors. We have everything around. Dow's still down by more than 414 points or so, Steph. If we don't get a deal on Friday, don't you still believe that we're going to get a deal, that it's not going to play out for months and months. And that's some of the prevailing commentary on the street today, is you may not get a deal on Friday. It may get pushed off. It may feel bad, but it's not going to last that long. Neither the president nor the Chinese can afford to let this go the distance, if you will.
And I would agree with that. I think a deal definitely gets done from a political point of view as well. I think that Trump wants to have a deal done, right, for the election, the upcoming election. But I do think if it is prolonged, then you're going to have business confidence erode, and then you're going to have consumer confidence erode. And remember how bad it felt in December? I'm not saying we're going to go back to that, because I do think that the U.S. is actually in a better place. I mean, just look at the JOLTS numbers today. They were actually quite strong, right? So we have been getting very good data on jobs overall, and that continues. I just wonder if it gets into the psyche, which gets into the market multiple, what you're willing to pay given the unknowns. And that's really why I'm waiting, but I am making my shopping list, because that's what I did in December.